I'm John Martinez from John's Sporting Goods, and today we're going to talk about taking care of your fishing reels after you're done fishing. This is a Dakota 600, and it's like a lot of reels, full of ball bearings, and it needs some care after fishing or else the bearings are going to rust up over time. One of the things all the new reels have in them is what's called an anti-reverse bearing. Most of the new reels have a large bearing right in here, and it's very susceptible to water damage. Now let's dispel a myth. One thing that you don't want to do with any of these modern reels is you do not want to spray them hard down with water, because what's going to do, you're going to fill your reel full of water, and all these bearings in this reel are going to be all one piece in about a year's time, especially if it sits on the shelf over the winter time. Do not fill your reels full of water. So the proper care is this: when you get back from fishing, is have a handy WD-40 can ready and spray your reel down very, very lightly. Don't hose it down with this oil. Take a soft cloth. The oil will not hurt the line, so don't worry about the little bit of overspray. It's fine to get a little bit of oil on the line, but just don't douse it down. And then just wipe the WD-40 off. One thing nice about WD-40 is that most of it's going to evaporate between now and the next fishing trip. Now, one of the most essential points that you have to keep clean, you need to do this maybe 2 or 3 times a year. You need to take a toothbrush and you need to scrub the level wind. This is the level wind gear right here, this cross wind gear. And take your toothbrush and scrub it out a little bit. Turn the handle to get the line guide over to the other side, and then scrub this other side out a little bit. You want to get the dirt and the debris and the other fine particles that get in there. The number one thing that goes wrong with a reel is the level wind gets cross-threaded, and then it strips out the gears inside the reel. So keep this clean. Remember, it's an open gear and it's exposed to the elements. Now, after you scrub that out, take your reel oil and oil this down. Just like before, don't douse your reel with oil. This Penn synthetic reel oil is just fine for level winds. Put a little bit on there. Remember, you can always put a little bit more on the next time you go fishing, so don't fill your reels full of oil. Now, once a year, what you need to do is you need to take the tube that came with your can of WD-40, insert it in the nozzle. And remember, we talked about that big bearing that's right in this area right here? That needs a little bit of oil. And you could take all of this apart, but unless you're an expert at getting a reel back together, in a lot of these reels you're going to have trouble getting the parts back in there. So don't take the reel apart unless you really have good knowledge of putting a fishing reel back together. Back the star drag off all the way. Take your can of WD-40 and put it where there, in this gap here in the reel between the star and the reel, and put a little bit of WD-40 in there, spray it. Now be careful that you don't spray too much, because if you spray too much, it's going to dribble down into the drag washers and the drag is going to get jerky. So you want to put a little bit of oil in there. That oil is going to get down into the anti-reverse bearing and it's going to lubricate it just a little bit. Remember, you can always put more on later. So just put a little bit and then tighten your drag back up. Now, between fishing trips, back your drag off all the way, because you don't want your drag disc to get compressed, and that will keep the drag in good shape. So that's about what you need to do to take care of a reel between fishing trips. One other thing you might want to consider purchasing is my brand new saltwater fishing journal. This is packed full of maps of the San Juan Islands and Puget Sound. It's got salmon maps, crabbing, shrimping, and a lot of other useful information in it.